Hi, I'm Jessica Robinson, and I'm founder of Moxie Future, a platform for engaging with women in sustainable and responsible investing. And I'm also the author of Financial Feminism, a woman's guide to investing for a sustainable future. And you're listening to Gut Talks, GUTT.
Hi, I'm Maria. Thank you for listening, and make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment. And don't forget to watch the full episode. Thanks again for listening to Gut Talks.
Can I say one thing that's really riling me at the moment is I turn on the news and all we hear is Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos racing to get up to space. And you know what annoys me is we have these billionaires, spending billions and billions and billions to what I see as a male vanity project when the earth is burning, right? When we've got new mothers who die in childbirth because they haven't got access to basic healthcare. We've got children who can't go to school. I cannot, when we talk about value, I cannot understand why we're not asking simple questions, which is, why is this important for a billionaire to spend a day in space when we've got all of these problems, including climate change? And I cannot seem to reconcile, a bit like you were saying, watching yesterday with the football and the dichotomy of what's happening.
I think it goes back to human greed and power in a certain way. I mean, I was 17 and I had a philosophy class, and that was the exact topic. Should we send people to space or should we? But it's the same thing. How much money do we spend as humans, right? Not you and I, with countries on weapons, mass destruction weapons. That's another thing, right? So, I guess let's not get into that conversation. We'll become too philosophical here, I guess.
That comes back to my point about sustainable investing. And one of the reasons why I wrote the book was very much around, I just want to plant the seed in the reader's mind that we can make different choices with our wealth and our money. And I talk about levers of change, and we have many levers of change, but investing and wealth is one of those. And it doesn't matter how small it is or how much it is, right? It's a way to articulate what matters to you. And I think that sense of empowerment is really important.
Yeah, I want to touch on that too, because you're talking about women. But before that, what do you think the role of universities is in today's day and age? How are they, planting a seed of thought into the new generation?
So, well, you're talking to someone I've got 3 university degrees.
Yeah, me too, in design, though, fully.
No, actually, I think one of my daughters said to me the other day, I'm not going to go to university. And I'm like, yeah, you are. I think that's a really interesting question. I mean, I'm a believer in that learning is continual.
Absolutely.
In fact, this morning I'm doing a certificate in finance, just because I love to continually learn. I think universities, I think they're really important. I think they're an important stepping stone for young people. I do think we need to think a little more deeply about the practicality or the value that's being created. But I have to say, my father, when I went off to university, my first degree, he actually said to me, I can't believe I'm going to say this. He actually said to me, Jess, I don't care what degree you come out with, just go and have a really good time.
Okay, nice.
So he views education as sort of a much more well-rounded sort of thing. It's not just the grade you come out with. It's the experiences that you have and what you then do with it. And so I do think there's a bit of soul searching, because obviously we have to figure out how to pay for these universities as well, right?
There's one thing here, because the education system and whatever has been a bit disrupted because of the pandemic. But one thing I was telling my student a few months ago when I was teaching them, I was like, take advantage of being here and having the university open, because this is the value, the people you are with today. The rest you can learn online. I mean, I'm an advocate of being there physically if you want to learn, because you learn so much from different people and different cultures. But online you can learn a lot too. But my question also was like, are universities or just schools in general, not just universities, taking us into a specific thought process that is not working or working today? And how big is, or how important is, especially in the financial education and the economics and so on, or how much importance is given to ESGs, sustainability, and so on?
So I think that's actually, the reason I find that very interesting is because I've been having a similar thought process with my elder two children of 14 and 15, and they've had a very international education. They both speak fluent Mandarin. They're now at an international school here in Dubai. My concern, and I know the school is making an effort to talk about sustainability and SDGs, but they're still not progressive enough in terms of inspiring these young people to make change happen. We're still very rigid in our approach to education. And I think that's really hard when you're trying to raise kids, and when they go to university, you're trying to jump through hoops to enable them to then have choices. But at the same time, you want them to be free thinkers and game changers. So I think it is very, very difficult, actually. I say to my girls, you don't need to get straight A's, but I get their report cards and I'm like, there's a few too many B's and C's in there, because I was educated to think success looked like straight A's, right?
Yeah.
Which it doesn't.
So how do you measure success then when you talk to, or when you work with women and when you work with companies?
So it's very much about impact. And now, when I take on any project, so any of my strategic work or consulting work, when I take on any projects, I really think through what is the positive impact or the effect on change that I'm going to have. It's not the money I'm paid, or it's not the sort of the publicity that's gained or whatever. It's right. How is that change going to happen? And then you need to also ensure you're working with the right people, because a lot of, particularly in the sustainable finance space, there's still a lot of fascination with public declarations or statements. There's that PR marketing piece, which I just don't have the time or energy to do now, because I think, climate change is the clock is ticking. And so I want to spend my time and my expertise and my experience really ensuring that I'm actually changing the way people think about things and actually taking action on that as well. But I think success is a peculiar one, isn't it? In terms of generation, I think that's different as well. When I was younger, the whole concept of being an entrepreneur didn't really exist, whereas now being an entrepreneur is a really exciting thing, right? And also it's where you can have positive impact. So I think that sort of shift of how we value things and what matters to us. One area that I'm really involved in is gender lens investing. So seeking out female founders and investing my money in these female founded businesses. And to me, that's been one of the most rewarding activities that I do outside of my work, is actually seeing these phenomenal women set up amazing businesses. And invariably those businesses have some kind of societal or social impact, right? Because women are always looking to solve problems. So, a couple of the companies I'm invested in, like ed tech, health tech, women are thinking, okay, what's a sort of societal problem? What is the business solution? How do I deliver on that? And so I think that's, for me, I found that very rewarding, actually.